Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? Yamez here with Allen Metal Forge, and we've got Speargrass Forge in the house, and Transcendental Artist Studios um, is away right now. Somebody just showed up at their house, and they're dealing with that. But they also left the YouTube video on, so it's coming through the audio. So I've got it muted, and we'll see what happens. They're going to come back and, oh, can't hear me, can't hear me. What's up, Steven? First in. What's up, Ben? Trail Dust. Uh, just Ben talking his stuff. Paul Orchard. Rusty Hubcap. What's up, Alan? Uh, Bortega. Wayne Heights. Eric. Carnage Creations. I got something to say to you, Paul. Uh, Robert Whitney. How you guys doing? Um, excuse me. Yeah. So, how's everybody doing? I'm doing.
I am doing spectacularly.
Um, yeah, so I kind of wanted to, well, we can get Sully's hot take on his week when he gets back. My week's been pretty good. Got a bit done. It started to cool off a bit, so um I'm able to get out to the shop more. Have been doing more of like shuffling stuff around, and I'm not going to say cleaning or organizing. Shuffling stuff around and some outdoor stuff. Um, I scrapped a bunch of copper wire, got about $200, and turned it into crypto. Boom, already in the green. What's up, Bloobs? If you're there and you can hear me, let Sully know that the mic is muted on his end because he left the video running or left the YouTube video running. um, And also another thing that happened this week is Paul Orchard did a Dragon's Twist bottle opener, and I'm proud to say that my videos on that were the first out ever. Yeah. So that's not being me being petty. What's up, Dragonstone? How you doing, Crawdaddy? Um, I don't know why things just seem so quiet here right now. It's okay, Paul. It's okay. It's okay. I love you. Um, but yeah, how was your week there, Adam?
My week was good. Okay, so start of the week, of course, as everyone knows, I got married last weekend. So Sam Towns was here, was present on our last live stream and on the last podcast. He had to unfortunately travel home on Tuesday. Him and his lovely partner were had their flights changed from Tuesday to Thursday because airlines being what they are like to mess people around. So they had to go home a little bit early, but that's okay. I finally got rid of most of my family by Thursday. So from Thursday onwards, I was able to actually relax and chill out a bit. So I got round to finishing off my pet project, which Yamez blew last week or the bleak before last week, and let everyone know was actually uh, the annotated practical blacksmithing volume number 1. Now, I am really, really excited to announce to everyone uh, the Practical Blacksmithing Annotated Volume 1 is now available right now on Amazon in 3 forms. So it's available on Kindle as an electronic or ebook form, as a paperback, print on demand, and as a hardcover, print on demand. Now, if you'd like a copy, I'm sure Yamas will probably pop a link somewhere. But don't worry if it says out of stock. It is print on demand. So as soon as you click and buy that book, if you want to purchase one, of course, I'm absolute no pressure here. I just did it as so I could eventually record the audio version. Which now that it's actually the video physical version is released on Amazon, I can actually start organizing to do the audio version. But yeah, so now that's out. If you want to do that, don't worry about if it says out of stock. Just click, and a print-on-demand version will be printed and posted to you. And you guys in the US should receive it within, I think it's 3 to 5 days. If it's not a maximum of like 7 days, it's ridiculously quick. So yeah, so I'm really excited about that. Just because I've been working on it for so long. Now I kind of have a little bit of a system going. Volume 2 has been started. Started that just the other day. I'm still in the process of tidying it up and editing it and cleaning it up a bit. Then I'll go back through and annotate it and add a few more pictures and stuff like that to bring the value of the text up. And then it's just a matter of formatting and doing the cover. But because I've already got the first one formatted, I can basically just copy and paste it and bring it over and get the formatting all right and just a little bit of tweaking. And yeah, then it's onwards and upwards for Ad Astra. So yeah, that's my news.
Hey, Mick.
So that's been yeah, occupying my last couple of days. But I literally uploaded it a day or so ago, and it's now finally all been approved and it's all live.
So
Cheers, Wayne.
some awesome stuff there. Morning, Mick. Chew. Morning, Deranged. How you guys doing? So yeah, now we've got a published author in the blacksmithing field as a co-host.
That's a scary thought, isn't it?
That's awesome. Available everywhere, right?
So it is available in Australia. So for the paperback and of course the ebook version are available worldwide. With a hardcover, I'm not sure. Yeah, it doesn't currently ship to Australia, I don't think. That's the hardcover. But I mean, of course, if we have a contact in the US or something like that that would be willing to, take some orders. So what I'm going to be doing with the hardcover version is once I've got a little bit of spare money in the next couple of months,
I just had an
what I'll
idea.
be actually doing is purchasing a couple of volumes and then perhaps raffling one or something like that. But what's your idea there, Yamas?
Get a couple of volumes over here and of the hardbacks, and then when you come to America, get you to sign them, and then sell them at Quad State,
That's
or
the
take
initial.
them with you and sell them.
I have a feeling that there might be a few people that won't be too happy with me and they might lynch me at Quad State.
What?
I've interfered with with a piece of blacksmithing history.
Oh, bollocks.
But yeah.
Let me check to see if
So Steve Parsons wants my autograph.
uh,
I'll tell you what, Steve. When I come to the US, if you've got a copy of any one of the volumes of Practical Blacksmithing, because by that stage I'll probably have them all out, then yes, I will gladly give you my autograph. And no, Ben Tomb is specifically designed for the American mind, so that you don't have to read it upside down.
yeah. Let's see.
Deranged. Do I need to keep an eye out on the New York Times list of authors? Probably not. No. Yeah, considering the original was released over 100 years ago. And all I've done is annotate and haven't really written a book, and it's definitely not going to be a bestseller. Not for the New York Times list. No.
Yep.
Well, Paul, if you already have the original hardcover, that's good. I too have the original hardcover. This new edit, it's a little bit different in the volume one, in the sense that I've actually I've shuffled a lot of the sections around so that it's going to be a bit different to the original volume one, in the sense that all the sections are together insofar as I could. So all the hammers are going to be in the hammer section. All the forge designs and workshop designs and chimney designs, they're now all in one section. All the blacksmithing tools are all in its own section. So so it's a lot easier to get through, and it's a lot easier to reference. You know where if you know what you're looking for, you can flip over the index, look up what you're looking, look up the section you're looking for, and bang, you can go straight to it. I did that on purpose because I found, and from talking to other smiths, and a lot of people agreed with me in trying to go through practical blacksmithing. It's very back and forward. You're always flipping. Either you're flipping back to find an image that you're talking about, or the image doesn't exist in it, or you're getting a one section about forges, and then all of a sudden you're talking about workshop design and the tools that they use in that workshop. It's kind of like, how are these two sections relevant? So I've done a little bit of that, a little bit of chopping and changing and moving around, just so that it's a better reference guide and also easier to actually use. So and I'm doing that with the current edit of volume 2 as well. So that so that if you get the paper back, you can take it out of your workshop, and it's actually going to be a reference guide and a tool, as opposed to unfortunately the dog's breakfast that the original is.
Yeah. So that's amazing. So it looks like Jack Pines already just bought one. So is he
Oh wow!
officially the first purchaser of said tome of information?
Jack Pines, you are officially my first purchaser. That's cool.
There you go.
Flip over the index, look up. Wow, that's really really cool. Like, nothing's popped up on my Amazon yet. But yeah, like it says, nothing's popped up, but that's okay. It might take a little bit to process. But yeah, now Jack, if you're the first one, it means you're the first one to buy any version. You bought the Kindle version, so fantastic. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's cool. That is wow.
That was real neat if you were to be able to mint them as NFTs, that mint that, like sell them as NFTs, but nah.
Mate, that's your department. I have
Yeah.
no idea. That's nothing. But yeah, yeah, exactly, Paul. And Paul just said that's great. Going through 900 pages of fine stuff is a pain, and that's exactly right. So with volume one, and you'll be able to go, okay, I want this section, and open it up, and even if you don't get the right exact thing that you're looking for when you open it up in that section, you'll be able to find it in that section. So yeah. Yes, so Jack Pines, you are officially the first. You bought the Kindle version. Thank you very much, much appreciated. I'm very much humbled that you guys actually want to buy this. I kind of, like I said, I didn't do this. I didn't do this to actually release a book. I did this for the audio version so I can help out people. But I found that the more that I got into it, the more I realized just how expansive this would be in the community. Like just how much this might actually reinvigorate some of the interest in books. But yeah,
Right. Stephen Parsons
sorry, Eric.
or Eric just
Okay.
bought the original copy a couple weeks ago, and now you do this.
Well, Eric, if you're trying to read the original, then you'd know exactly the issue that I was talking about chopping and changing. So really sorry about that, dude. But I kind of had to keep it quiet in order to get all my ducks in a row. Now that I've completed volume one, I can kind of release a little bit of a teaser about what's happening next. So, of course, I'm currently editing volume 2, but I have in plans, as everyone knows, Practical Blacksmithing is actually a collection of articles. So these are bits that were written over 100 years ago by working smiths around the United States and in some parts, smiths that have been to different parts of the world. Now, I have tentatively in place verbal agreements with a group of people that are willing to help me out with the audio book so that it's actually going to be like you're hearing from a group of Smiths that are reading their articles as they would have sent them to Milton Thomas Richardson to create this book. So you're not going to be hearing just one voice. You're going to be hearing a range of voices for this audio book version. And of course, when I do that, I'm actually going to be releasing the companion Kindle version or paperback version of this with no text. So that is literally just a reference guide of the pictures that you
Some,
can listen to. Go ahead.
something for Ben Toon,
Yeah, basically.
a
Yeah.
picture book for Ben Toon.
That's right. So you can listen to the audio and you can read, you can look at you can reference the images that will be referred to in the audio book, so that, I that was my original plan, so that people that weren't good at reading English and perhaps English isn't their first language, people like, for example, maybe Lufe in Mexico, um, and or for all people that maybe have dyslexia, or those whom aren't very literate, could still reap the benefits of practical blacksmithing, um, and still have a copy, so to speak, and still get the benefit out of that without being embarrassed that they don't. Because I know, particularly with illiteracy, it can be a very big stigma. I have some friends that don't have the best literacy, and I know it's a very big stigma for them. So being able to have a copy of that which suits and fits in with their abilities, expands their knowledge, but also they can contribute to a conversation about practical blacksmithing because they've heard it, and they've been able to apply some of that stuff and still look at the pictures and know what is being talked about. That was my original plan. So yeah.
So
Yeah. Who said that? I just missed it. Someone asked how much am I paying you to spruik my book?
and then they said pay him in Vegemite, and I held up my
Yeah.
Vegemite.
Mm.
What's up, Dustin Dixon? What's up, uh, Roy? Christ-centered Ironworks. How you doing? New to the channel, I take it. How's it going? How's it going? Yeah, I am not certain if Sully is back yet.
Or
I
people
keep
maybe have
unmuting,
dyslexia, or those whom
but he's still not back yet. So, all right. Hey Matt.
I know, Yamas, I know that Sally has something playing in the background because every time I unmute him, I can hear
Same here.
like an echo. So I know he can actually hear us saying we've muted him. So he'll probably come back and turn his camera on and wave at me or something. So I'll let you know when I see that, so that we can unmute him. Um, but yeah, Jack Pines, I'd buy a pop-up book. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a pop-up book. I don't know logistically how that would work.
Oh, I
But
know, I
also
know,
because I'm
I know how you can make it a pop-up book. Fold. Get a clone of Ben Toombs and a whole bunch of them, and they go in with each book. And when you open the pages, he hops out.
um, fair enough. Yeah. So just to reiterate, this is print on demand. The hardcover will not be available everywhere in the world at the moment. Hardcover for Amazon print on demand is still in the beta version. So I believe it's only opened in the United States and select parts of the world at the moment. From memory, I think that might be Amazon France, Amazon Brazil, and UK, I think. Not 100% sure on that, but yeah. So um,
Right.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, no. So we've had Sally drop off.
okay,
Okay,
I'll have to keep an eye on that.
that's
Um,
okay.
excuse me. Gotta blow my nose again. So yeah. Now brings us a little bit. Okay, real quick side note, and I'll go over more of this in my evening show. Speaking of books, I have in my possession, ready for Quad State, the Forge Around the World book. Okay, and I will be bringing it to Quad State. I will be making a video of it probably between the end of this show and the beginning of the next show. I'll be recording it uh, to get it out there, and I will be bringing it to Quad State to let anybody who wants to uh, stamp it stamp it. So if you're going to Quad State, bring your touch marks. Um, and from there, I will be sending it out probably to the other side of the country to those who don't typically get to Quad State. I'm thinking, I know Ouroboros has a lot of plans for it, and she'll take it and then send it to somebody else. And from there, it will start its journey again. And hopefully another year will go by where it goes to different people and they can post in the Forge Around the World uh, YouTube or Facebook group. And yeah, we'll get this thing rolling again. Um, but I'll go more into detail on that tonight. Uh, Now, on to the topic. And it's kind of an open invite should somebody with experience like to jump in. Uh, However, the topic today is galvanization. Not so much zinc as a metal. We've done that before, but galvanization specifically, uh, and forging and dealing in a workshop with galvanized materials. Uh, Even more of a specific thing, what brought this up was a conversation that I had read about uh, using galvanized chimneys in a forge. Uh, excuse me. um, it is a bit of contention because of the off gassing of zinc and the toxicity of zinc and metal fume fever and all of that stuff that you don't want uh, galvanized materials anywhere near the forge. However, uh, in a chimney, it's not necessarily the case um, because and I'm already seeing some of the comments rolling up saying, "Yeah, never, never, never burn it off, burn the galvanization off outside, or remove it, or this or that, or everything." And now, I'd unless you built your forge completely, I don't want to say wrong, but let me widen this. Galvan Zinc off gases at around 1600 degrees. Um, galvanized steel, the coating doesn't start flaking until about 400 degrees, 400 to 500 degrees. Uh,
480-ish to
yeah,
480-ish
well,
to 500.
between 200 Celsius to 250 Celsius, which is just under 400 to just under 500, you know. Um, and if you're even if the very right at the top of your forge hood, your chimney, if that's getting to be almost 500 degrees, something's wrong. You've got your fire way too hot, way too high, and you got other issues to address. Um, Sully in the pre-show brought something up, even with the forge running all day. Uh, you can touch the chimney And yeah, it's warm, and you go but it's not. You're like 400 degrees is flesh searing at that temperature, you know. So you unless there is a bit of information out there that I am not catching on to, you should have absolutely no issues uh, as far as metal fume fever and zinc poisoning go using galvanized hood material, not hood, galvanized chimney materials. And I
Yeah.
see people saying,
Now that's
"Go ahead."
I was saying now that's not to say that you should use it as a hood. Now, any material that comes in contact with the fire or the forge should be black metal or untreated metal, such as like your untreated, ungalvanized sheet metal and stuff like that. But that's a different thing. When it comes to the actual chimney itself, it shouldn't be reaching temperatures of over 480 degrees for extended periods of time. Now, now if even if you look at common methods of building uh, fireplaces and stuff like that, they recommend like if there's two options. You can use galvanized chimney or you can use black pipe chimney. Now they also warn that if you use black pipe chimney, that you're going to be replacing it every 5 or so years. That's because as a metal, as wood or charcoal or coal burns, it produces acid. And Yum has made this point in the pre-chat as well, particularly when you're using coal, not so much charcoal, but coal and wood. The minerals and stuff contained in those when you burn them produce acids, whether that's sulfuric acid or other forms of acid, which actually eats away at the steel. Now, when you use something that's not galvanized, this leads to rust. So they will rust out on you.
A lot
Again,
faster than the galvanization will wear out.
that's
Uh,
right. So that's why even fireplace building companies recommend if you're that to be aware that if you're not using galvanized chimney, you're going to be replacing your chimney every couple of years.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Now,
Yeah.
uh, Paul Orchard brought up the vinegar trick with removing galvanic coating with vinegar, and well, yeah, obviously you can if you've got a piece of metal that you want to forge and it's galvanized, soak it in uh, vinegar to remove the galvanic coating. However, in the instance of a chimney, and I'll get to forging with safely forging with galvanized materials in a second, um, but using galvanic coated materials or galvanized materials as a chimney and a flue and all that stuff. Um, if you remove that galvanic coating, you remove the rust protection. All right. Um, Now, I've got, and I'm sure so many other people have, I've got a galvanized HVAC. I think mine's 8 inch or 10 inch going out, 90s up, 90s over, goes, or boom, straight up. And just the acids that we were talking about from the coal smoke, uh, it takes about a year to 2 years, depending on how much I use the forge, because there are times, like this summer, I've barely had a chance to get out there. It goes about a year to 2 years for medium usage for it to wear out. And the cost of uh, the cheap HVAC pipe, air quotes, cheap HVAC pipe from Home Depot compared to going to a specialist store and getting, uh, double insulated 10 inch or 12 inch black uh, stove pipe. We're talking like $8 for a 10-foot stick of the galvanized or the galvanized stuff versus maybe 50 or $60 for a 10-foot stick, if not more, of the black stovepipe. Um, so something
Now
that'll
Eric
last.
makes
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, Eric makes a very good point. He goes, I have a galvanized chimney. Very little have come off. What has is literally next to the fire pot. The tiny bit of fume that were created would have gone right out. Now that's true. Now if you've got a chimney that goes right to the fire pot, then yeah, you're going to have a little bit of flaking and stuff like that because that will be exposed to a higher heat. And you've got to be aware of that. Now, like in building a forge and building a chimney, you could for that bottom section, as long as you are aware that you're probably going to have to replace that section more often than the rest. Then yeah, and me personally, I'd probably because considering the safety risk behind galvanization, if I had a section of chimney that was that close to the fire, then yes, I would probably soak that just to avoid the flaking and avoid the issue. Yes, I work in an open area with plenty of breeze, but I'm a little bit more safety conscious. So yeah, I'd probably soak off just that section, but I'd also be aware that I'd have to replace that section of chimney every few years, and I'd factor that into my cost. Um, Same as a forge hood. Now, if you could put in that same spot, you could put a forge hood, which would actually spread out those acids and stuff like that, and also cool off the gases a bit more. In which case, you're not getting that flaking and stuff like that, and then that forge hood would probably last. I mean, how long has your forge hood lasted, Yamas? It's been what
Well,
five,
I've gone
four
through.
years since you last
I've
replaced it.
my forge hood. I've gone through two in the last 2 or 3 in the last 5 years. This new one is much thicker, much sturdier, much more better. So
Yeah,
I'm anticipating, at least another. I'm hoping for at least another 10 to 20 years on this forge hood because it is
yeah.
instead of being thin barrel metal, it is like quarter-inch thick diamond plate.
Yeah, but you haven't. But even then, like you haven't replaced your chimney in five
Oh
years,
yeah,
have
oh
you?
yeah, I have. Oh yeah,
They have.
yeah. I've had to replace my chimney 3 times.
Was that because it wore out, or was that because you had to
Com-
move it and stuff?
Combination of a couple things. The base of it, the 90s, because I don't have it
Yeah,
going straight up, wears out a lot faster because it's a place for all that stuff to collect.
too.
Water,
Yeah,
any water or condensation or the acid that drips down, collects in one of the outside 90 there and just rots out the bottom of it. So replacing those is just a matter of ripping it off, putting it in. I have 20 foot going up, that I've only replaced once. Um,
yeah.
right now, my rain cap needs to be replaced, but that's probably more of the wind knocking it about and the tree that's above it knocking it around.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. And that's exactly it. Now, Jack Pines just said, I've used my infrared gun on my hood and painted gal stovepipes just because I had no idea how hot it got. And I've tipped the tip testing on the wood of my enclosed pavilion. It's 90 degrees. So I'm dooming Jack Pines. That's not, hang on. And it's 90 at that part. I was worried about at most 400 degrees at the top of the hood. So therefore, it's not even getting hot enough for the thing to flake. Now,
exactly.
someone also brought up earlier that wood-fired stoves are actually hotter than coal stoves, and I can understand that because wood-fired stoves are actually really inefficient. In the sense, they've got a lot of gases that don't burn, and the smoke and all that type carries a lot of heat. Whereas generally forges are a lot more energy efficient when it comes to burning the fuel because they burn a lot more of it with the added oxygen. It gets hotter at the actual source, whereas the smoke and
Right.
the gases don't carry away the heat as much. So that's a good point as well.
Yeah. My fire pot is made out of 3/8 inch plate steel, um,
Yep.
welded together by me horribly. Uh, and I've been running that since, almost since the beginning. Um, Matt Wife says, if you get the fire that hot, I would be more worried about the bottom of the fire pot dropping out of my forge because the temperature would be that extreme to heat the hood and chimney. You're absolutely right. I've had my plate, my 3/8 plate, I've had that glowing in the bottom, okay, where it's glowing through the fire pot red around the outside. A dull red, but still noticeably glowing when I was working on hammer billets, and when I all day working on hammers or doing extended runs of with Damascus, and still at that high enough temperature, my forge my chimney didn't off gas. So yeah, um, I will be posting a link to this live stream into the Discord chat where this happened to come up. Uh, it's actually
But yeah, so that's when it comes to the galvanization on chimneys. Um, but sometimes it takes this type of discussion to actually uh,
open people's
talk
eyes.
out the and talk out the logic. You know what I mean? Like I know like logically, you think okay, yeah, being heat rises, so therefore the heat from the forge would go up. But talking out the actual science and the logic of it and stuff like that with other people that are knowledgeable can sometimes go, oh no, yeah, okay, yeah, wood fires do get hotter and all that type of thing. So it falls into your head quicker. And also because we always extol the dangers of working with galv materials when forging, we all have this healthy fear that of galvanization, which is absolutely a good thing in the sense of being, I wouldn't say healthy fear, but a healthy respect of galvanization, and that's a good thing because we don't want to lose any of you guys in the community or girls in the community to galvanization poisoning, zinc poisoning, but we've already lost far too many people with that
Yeah,
already.
that moves on to the disclaimer. We are not in any way, shape, or form saying that galvanization is safe around fire. Okay.
No,
You just
or
have to
welding or
be,
any other.
yeah, you just have to be aware of the heat temperatures where it's being used. Um, in a chimney, you're fine as long as your chimney is built correctly and you're not, shoving the freaking chimney flue right, like right into the coals because you don't want any smoke at all.
No.
Um,
And
now,
sorry.
yeah, now welding on galvanized materials or taking a I found this piece of metal at a construction site. I can forge with this. This is perfect. You don't, it's like when you stick it in. Oh, what's that yellow flaky stuff? Run. That's the zinc coating coming off.
Yeah.
You
And
know.
that's right. And that's the reason why we say we all have a healthy respect for galvanization. When it comes to galvanized things, unless you can absolutely not avoid it, right? As in you're in a desperate situation and galvanized material is all you have.
Yeah.
Go to a scrapyard. Go to look on Facebook. There's always people getting rid of some sort of steel. Go to your local mechanics and scrounge some up. Actually, our friends over at the Forgecast did an episode, did release an episode just this week on starting off with nothing and how scrounging is actually a really good thing. So just good on you to Sam and Alex over at the Forgecast for doing that. But so avoid galvanized materials as far as you can when it comes to actually forging. When it comes to welding, like I have a trailer that's completely galvanized. So I had a trailer. Sorry, I've got another trailer now, but I had a trailer that was all galvanized material. So in order when I wanted to do any welding on that, I'd have to grind off that hot galvanization, do my welding, and then hit it with some gold gal. So and also there's two types of galvanization. There's hot dip galvanization and then cold spray or paint on galvanization. Um, you can tell the one's a dull grey, one's a shiny steel color. So be aware of that too. Sometimes the paints that can be used on things can sometimes contain galvanization as well. Um, but yeah, when it comes to galvanized material, there's sometimes you can't avoid it. Trailers, welding things together and stuff like that. When it comes to forging, if you can get away with not using it, which most of us, there should be no excuse why we can't. Don't use it. It's just safer. It's easier. You don't have to worry about using vinegar or using other materials to strip off galvanization. Um, and of course, you can always, if you need to forge something that has to be galvanized, you can always organize for galvanizing after you finish the
Right.
project.
Now, I'd like to head to the chat for a second. Roy brought up a good point. So did John. And then Roy reiterated his point. This is fantastic. This is what I love, sparking conversation. Now, Roy says, in my opinion, the debate of the dangers of galvanized pipe or not is overplayed. What's worse and often the most overlooked is clearance to combustibles. Right. More, um, a lot more forges burn down per year than smiths go into the grave because of metal fume fever. Uh,
Yep.
and what John Brunell said is maybe some of the older guys here remember Jim Paw Wilson. Uh, yeah, he will be remembered. Um, and I know who Paw is. I just don't remember the part. I don't remember exactly what he was working on consistently over the years to develop that. Uh,
I thought
and
wasn't Jim the one that he had a class round and he puts something in the forge. It started off gassing, and he has evacuated everyone and then gone back in to pull whatever it was out of the actual forge, and
I,
that's
be-
how he got the think fever.
I believe so.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but again, um, something like that where it was like a flash incident like that, um, again, it created this mythos of fear around
yeah.
galvanized materials. And yes, general disclaimer, to be safe, don't use galvanized materials. However, don't be so afraid of it that you ignore the science behind it. And that goes true with everything in the world. But
Yep.
um, the temperature, if the temperature to off gas is so high that your chimney is off gassing, you've got bigger problems, as Roy says, burning down the house. And I think they wrote a song about that.
Yeah.
Oh,
And like Roy said, in almost 15 years he's been forging, he knows of only one person who's died because of metal fume fever, and lost count the amount of forges that burned, that the amount of shops that have burned down. That's right. So when it comes, and this is again, and I kind of I hate this type of thing, doing this type of thing, but it's the reason why when I when I go to design my shop and when I design my just a box of dirt and all that type of thing, I did a lot of research before I actually started construction. Even with my new workshop coming, researching the book that's now released, there are a lot of very good, very detailed information in that book. It doesn't always have pictures, but it says on how far your chimney should be from your forge pot. Those distances, your offsets, all that type of stuff is contained in countless bits of information over the web. Everything from Amplifier website, old books, it's all in there. There's no, you don't need to reinvent the wheel when it comes to how to build a forge. You're not going to get any better because we have literally been building forges for the better part of 2,000 to 3,000 years. We've pretty much got it down. Um,
yeah,
so, so trust those that have come before us, and trust the science in how to set them up, because that will result in a safer overall forge for you to work in, and it will also avoid those off-gassing incidents because the chimney and all that type of thing are going to be far enough away from the fire pot to avoid your shop burning down, like Roy's mentioning.
right. Absolutely. There's so many. I mean, the big thing to take away from the chimney discussion about galvanization is don't let the very real and obvious dangers of forging with galvanized materials uh, distract you from, or chase you away from using galvanized materials in a build. Okay. Um,
And that's just as true as in a forge as it is with general building.
yeah.
Most roofing iron is galvanized. If you live near the coast, you have to use galvanized stuff, otherwise your steel's going to rust away. So galvanization is not only a good, but it's an essential thing in modern life. It's just that we just have to be just like anything. It's like drinking alcohol. We have to be aware of the risks and the dangers whilst still using it because it's overall it's a beneficial thing.
Yeah. Now,
No, we got
um, moving to because I think we've beaten that topic to death.
yeah.
Hold on. Okay. Um, I think we've beaten that topic to death, and I'm sure it'll come up again. Just link them to this video where we discuss it, or link them to the podcast. Now, forging with galvanized materials, if you absolutely have no other option, okay, you're doing a project and this piece of steel is perfect for what you want to use, but it's galvanized. You're going to have to wait to use it because grab yourself a container that will fit the whole piece and go to the dollar store and buy a bunch of vinegar, fill it up, let it soak for a day or two as long as you want, scrub it off, clean it, you down to bare metal, and there you have a safe piece of ungalvanized steel to use. Uh, so there are ways to make a galvanized piece forgeable. You just remove the galvanization. A lot of people will say, "Oh, just throw it into a bonfire and walk away." Yeah, but okay, that brings up a point, um, that what is it, a year or two ago, a person had made a video citing my recommendation on a forge build that I had no part of. And this person lived in a very densely populated area and was using a HVAC tray, which is a galvanized sheet metal, as the forge, and a galvanized fire pot, no hood, no chimney, in his backyard, neighbors everywhere, and lighting it up. That cloud of fumes doesn't just go straight up and stay there. It goes around, and if there's people around, they're getting a whiff of that. You know, so only toss it in a fire pit if you're well enough away from everybody that the zinc fumes would disperse, and get what's the word, displaced. You know, I had to make a statement back then and say I had nothing to do with this, because if that video becomes evidence of this person, giving a whole bunch of people metal fume fever, and in it he says, "Oh, Yames told me to do this." No, 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 no.
Just remember, it's called heavy metal poisoning for a reason. Heavy
Yeah,
metals and just to let everyone know, the thing about heavy metals is they don't leave your system. It's the reason why heavy metal poisoning can build up over a long period of time. Same as mercury, same as lead. These are things that stay in your body, they leach into your bones, and they don't leave your system. Right? Sure, drinking milk and stuff like that can help with symptoms of heavy metal poisoning in the sense of the headaches and stuff like that. But it's still a permanent poisoning. You still have this stuff in your body for the rest of your lives. And they will cause issues going forward. That's the reason why we don't recommend, and no blacksmith worth his salt anywhere in the world, and I don't care who you are, will recommend using galvanized materials where you can avoid it. Like Yamo said, you've got that piece that is absolutely perfect. If you can't avoid using that piece, okay, soak it in vinegar and all that type of thing. But even Yames will say, don't use it. Go find a piece of steel or scrap steel, whatever.
That's only
But
because
first,
I only say that because I like to grab a
exactly.
piece and start forging right away. So I
Yeah,
like to have bare metals available to me.
yeah.
I don't want to find a piece of galvanized, be like, it's perfect. I got to wait until tomorrow. Or as Deranged says, muriatic acid will remove it a lot quicker. It will. I will say, he says, muriatic acid is what I use to remove galvanization from metal. It takes about 2 seconds to remove it, but make sure that you wear gloves because the acid will burn you.
Mhm.
No, I've dipped my hand in muriatic acid before. I've dipped my hand in ferric chloric acid before. Uh,
We dipped your head in hydrochloric acid.
hydrochloric, no,
Sorry.
hydrochloric acid dissolves biological material.
I was
My
about to
hand,
go,
my
it's
hand is not metal.
recycling.
My hand is not metal. Muriatic acid isn't going to affect it. You know, I don't
But
think.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
I've
yes,
dipped my
yeah.
hand in it before. I wear gloves only because then scrubbing that freaking crap out is annoying, and the smell just doesn't go away. That's the reason I would wear gloves. Um, but I mean, I've splashed it on me when playing with it. Always wearing eye protection, but I've never had a burn from it. Kind of makes me wish I had my jug of acid sitting in here instead of out the shop. I'd be like, dip, 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 dip. But then I get demonetized for showing, oh, he's dipping his hands in acid.
Well, hang on, vinegar's an acid. But yeah, so guys, just saying as a disclaimer, whilst you can use galvanized steel with the galvanization removed either through muriatic acid or vinegar or other stripping methods, grinding it off, all that type of stuff, it is not a thing that we recommend you do. Okay, reason being is because there's no 100% guaranteed way to no 100% way to guarantee you stripped off all the galvanization. I mean, we've all come across bits that are stubborn that just won't come off.
Yeah,
So,
which is why I said scrub it.
oh yeah, which is but if you absolutely can't use any other material other than that piece that's galvanized and you strip it off, do that. If you have the possibility of using any other material, it is safer just to use the ungalvanized material because you never have to worry about if it's
Yeah,
has galvanization on it if it's never
exactly.
been galvanized. So
But
it's just safer to
I
begin.
like to offer people because it's like, especially when I first started, I did have a lot of galvanized materials, and it was like I didn't know where to go because I was new. I didn't know what questions to ask, you know. So yeah, if and that's why I say if you absolutely are in a position where like I say, this piece is already perfect. I just need to do this, this, and this to it, and it'll be a piece to my sculpture that I can weld onto it, or I just need to heat up the end and bend it, and it'll work perfect for what I need it for, and it's galvanized. Um, that's when I say, you know what, go through the effort to uh, remove the zinc coating, and you can buy, or I don't know if you still can buy it, but I have some old cans of spray on zinc coating. So I can re-galvanize things if I need to.
Yeah. See, we call that cold galvanization because spray on. But now, just to go back to the original topic, Eric said, funny thing about chimneys is they won't draft well without enough air coming in to replace it. So this is a good thing. Also ties in with forging galvanization, forging stripped, formerly galvanized things. Your shop should always be well ventilated. Even if you're not worried about galvanization and galvanic poisoning, heavy metal poisoning, or anything like that, there is still carbon monoxide poisoning, all that type of stuff. Your shop should always be well ventilated, regardless.
Yeah,
In the event that a little bit of zinc or galvanization does end up into your forge, being able to evacuate but still have airflow through your workshop in order to blow that, that get those gases out or whatnot, is an essential thing. You don't want to end up passing out because of carbon monoxide or galvanization poisoning. Both are just as deadly as each other, and carbon monoxide poisoning is more insidious because you can't see it or smell it happening. So, and as Roy said, exposure risk is on a scale. Example: a small bolt playing the galv once in a great moon equals small exposure, and B, running 1,000-foot pipe through the forge in a year equals death. And that's the same thing. But your shop should always be as ventilated as possible while still maintaining a level of comfort. I know you guys get extremely cold temperatures in the US in most parts of it. So you don't want to be a minus 20 to wind blowing through the workshop whilst you're trying to work, but you still do want the decent ventilation in order to make sure that you have enough
I
oxygen,
really
you have
don't
enough
think
airflow.
I really don't think Roy's shop has any problems with ventilation.
Me either.
um, Deranged metal ions. I didn't mean that the acid was rapid reaction to your body. The gloves is more of a safety factor, which should be added. I will never tell somebody not to use gloves, when dealing with acids. Uh, it is really, one of those, you have them around, might as well toss them on. Uh, I'm just saying, it's like, along with that's a whole other topic too, it's like people who don't know the chemistry behind the different types of acids. um, here's the word acid, and if they don't immediately think LSD, they think, oh, I can get rid of a body with this, or I can get rid of a, like, and it's like, no, different acids melt different or dissolve different things, you know. Um, so yeah,
a
that's
lot of
kind of,
people drink a lot of people drink acidic water.
yeah,
Think about it this way: if your water has a pH level of 5, it's
acidic.
below 6 7 below 7 is acidic. So yeah, it's 6 is relatively neutral. But if your water is level 5, it's acidic.
My my
It's watered down like lemon juice.
my ex-wife would drink apple cider vinegar every day, every morning. She'd drink like 3 ounces of apple cider vinegar every single morning. You know,
Yep,
and
it's good for you, right?
it is good for
And
you. It raised her pH levels, and it was
yeah, yeah. So,
like,
yeah, and if your pH is over 7, so 8 9, then it's alkaline. Um, and the funny thing is,
hey, Rob.
acid causes acid causes rust. So, and I had to figure out all this type of stuff. If you Many of you may remember my preservation wax and preservatives wax that I did a couple of years back. And this is all stuff I looked into because alkaline helps avoid beeswax when it breaks down. Beeswax is actually neutral, but over time it breaks down, actually becomes an acid. It breaks down to a 5 on the acidity on the pH scale. So I had to counteract that with certain additives and stuff like that to make it so it maintained an 8 9 on the pH scale, which is alkaline, which prevents rust. So yeah, this is all stuff that I had to look into. Yeah, and like Trailer says, we use acids for recreational purposes, being carbonic soda, carbonic acid in soda, lemon and lime juice, all that type of thing. Roy says, if you polish a little bit of copper every now and then without a mask, well, it might take 20, 30 years to see effect, or like me, do 1,000 pieces and boom, now you're allergic for the rest of your life. Exactly. And people forget even then, copper to a certain, it all comes down to moderation, like iron. We have iron in our bodies. We have a certain amount of copper as well, but copper is also classified as a heavy metal. And Big Royce has now developed an allergy, a heavy metal allergy to copper, which is, you know, galvanized steel is the same. That's exactly correct. And Eric said the funny thing with heavy metals, they don't leave your body so well. I said that exact same thing earlier. These heavy metals stay in your body, which is why, particularly the older generation, people who used to have lead homes or used to, when they used a lot of mercury, it's something that's not so prevalent nowadays. Now that the use is tapered off, but lead poisoning and mercury poisoning was a major thing, and it's still traceable in a lot of particularly older generation, not so much this younger generation. But lead in cars. The reason why they banned lead additives in petrol is because the global rate of heavy metals in the body was rising rapidly. So they had to find other additives to for petrols and stuff like that. So this is a thing that isn't only of interest to the blacksmithing community, but is a across the board thing to be aware of. But particularly where it pertains to blacksmithing is zinc galvanization.
Yeah,
And of course, zinc galvanization isn't the only type of galvanization, but in regards to what we do, it's the most common.
absolutely. Um, yeah, I think we've covered it fairly well. Thanks Roy for being here to kind of nail those points home a little bit. Um, it's just I see it falling into those mythos, um, and that like what was the big one that you need for flux to forge weld, you know, because it makes it easier. People think, people just say, oh, just go ahead and use it. Uh, and people take that as it is a metal glue, like it evolves over the time, and it's like um, it becomes kind of that in the lessons, the process is clean the steel, remove any oils, weld it together, clean it again, then heat it up, then add flux, then light taps, and blah 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 blah, all that stuff. And it's like that has been said so many times, it's become the only way to do it, and it's not. I feel this kind of applies with the galvanization, especially with chimneys. It's like, you know, don't forge, don't no galvanization bad, woo blah 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 blah, without that caveat of if it gets to a certain temperature, you know, and it has been said several times, if your forge chimney is reaching those temperatures to off gas uh, galvanization, you've got bigger problems. So like I'm talking, you know, get a fire extinguisher and call 911 kind of problems. um, so that being that, we're just past 11 and I have got to be getting going here in a second. Uh, but I'd like to say I think Metal Blueberries has kidnapped our esteemed co-host uh, Transcendental Iron Studios.
I think so. I think between Bloobs and because I think
Crawdaddy was there.
Dragonstone, yeah,
Yeah,
Dragonstone showed up. Oh, Crawdaddy. So I think they've thrown her in the back of a vehicle and made off with them.
it's what we get for being famous. Like
Yeah, I suppose so.
people will
It
drive
happens.
4 hours to toss you in the back of a van. I mean, it's happened to
Well,
me a
they
couple of times. Well, they
good
didn't
luck.
toss
Good
they
luck to them
didn't
finding me.
they didn't toss me into the back. They said, "Hey, you want some candy?" And I climbed in
Mm.
enthusiastically.
Good luck with them finding me.
I know
They'd
where
have
you
trouble.
live. I've got satellite imaging. I know where you live.
Yeah, but you've got to get here. That's the problem.
Soon,
Mm.
soon.
So yeah. So on that note, I'd like to say, just a second, where am I going? I forgot what I was doing. Don't you hate that? Stop thinking, get this start again. Um, where am I going? Okay, yeah. So on that note, thanks for watching. If you and thanks for joining us. You can find Yamas on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. You can find Alex at Transcendental Art Studios on Instagram, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And you can find me, Adam Spiggrass Forge, on Instagram and Facebook, and of course on YouTube. Don't forget, if you have any suggestions for the tool of the week, metal of the week, or any other topic, you can leave them under the hashtag middle of the week in the YouTube community chat on Discord, or you can email us at islandmetalforge@gmail.com. Finally, if you have found us on Spotify or Anchor, or any other your favorite podcast provider, we generally upload every Wednesday-ish, or you can join us live every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the US, and that's currently 11:30 p.m. Australian Central Standard Time. But check that against your local time to be more accurate, and that's over at the Island Metal Forge YouTube channel. Finally, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. We really appreciate your support. For those of you, and one final plug for those of you that have decided to go over and purchase the newly released Practical Blacksmithing Annotated on Amazon. Thank you very much. Of course, Jack, you have been immortalized as being the first to do so, and of course you bought the Kindle version. That still counts. So thank you very much. The rest of those volumes will be added as I complete them. Finally, let's get your final thoughts there, Yamez.
My final thoughts are, regardless of what you're doing, be safe about it, but be smart about it, you know. And I'd like to thank all of you guys for being here. Big thanks to Speargrass Adam over there for talking a lot and for writing a lot. So awesome, awesome. I'm going to be picking up that book as well at some point. And thank you all from the chat. Thank you, big thanks to the channel member subscribers, or the channel members. Jack Pines, Steve Parsons, Wayne Heights, Roy from Press Center Ironworks, Granddad's Forge, Transcendental Art Studios. You guys are awesome. And thank you to the rest of you in the chat for participating and hanging out, buying the book, and listening to the podcast. I mean, I'm assuming you guys are all doing it, so I'm thanking you for it, just to be sure. Uh, and yeah, I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Be safe and get stuff done. Do you have any? You got your final thoughts in mind?
Well, Robert Whitney kind of said it. The credits are rolling, so it's time to sign out. We're going to have to. We've got so many. We're getting enough channel members now. We're going to actually have to start having a rolling credits, just so that we can thank these people at the end of our live streams. Now, for
I
those of you
don't.
that are
I don't quite have
listening.
enough channel members to burn them onto a wall just yet. But
No, we're not. We're not Roy. But for those of you that are listening on Spotify, don't forget to give us that rating. You can click on the rate this podcast and help get us up there. I'd really like to see us ranked as one of the top 10 for 2022-2023 podcast of blacksmithing. I don't want to knock our good mates over at the Forge Card off the top, but to be sharing number 1 and 2 spot with them would be really cool.
that'd be really cool. And I would attribute
But,
that. I would attribute that to if you run a podcast, you have to have an Aussie on your roll there. Because
exactly, we can't make number 1 because the other one has 2 Aussies, so
yeah,
you can't really beat 2 Aussies.
yeah, it's like
No worries.
Australia squared.
That's it.
But anyway, all right, guys. We will see you next time. And if you are going to attend my evening show, I will be going into. I've got the Forge Around the World book, and I'll be going and discussing that a little bit more. Thank you all, and good morning, good evening, and good night. All that fun stuff. All right. Adios. Bye now.